Good morning, friends. Welcome to 110th edition of Sunday Tech Talk. Last two Sundays, we are talking about education and industry association, how to bridge the gap, how to improve their relationship, and how to convert the ideas of university or researchers or in education industry into a reality, into product or services. So we had two lectures, one from Dr. Gangal, Shashikala Gangal from Pune University, that is the education field, and then Mr. Vishwas Kale, live presentation at PMA from industry side. So we have heard both. Now we have a youngster coming up from academia as well as startup because he is the real, I can say, real person who needs this kind of a interaction. And what is his experience? We should learn from him and then make the action plan because he will be talking today on how to bring out, or rather, how to bridge the gap between in academia, research, and industry. So, Pradyumna Mane will explore updated potential of industry researchers collaboration, highlighting the real world bottlenecks and actionable models to bridge the divide. Drawing from, so that is his presentation topic today. About Pradyumna, Pradyumna is founder and chief inspiration officer at Physics Mind-boggler, that is PM, a startup striving to take research beyond papers and connect it with entrepreneurship. Very ambitious program. He is a BTech engineering physics graduate with Chancellor's Medal in Innovation and Entrepreneurship. During his BTech, he published 3 research papers in international conferences and journals. And he is also author of 3 non-fiction books on physics. That is great. His startup has been honored with the Best Startup Award by the World Association of SMEs and Ministry of MSME. Uh, uh, he received a fellowship from Sarthi, Government of Maharashtra. So I think we have a well accepted speaker today by the government, by the researchers, and I think his work will definitely lead an example for industry as well as education field. Without spending much time, I will request Pradyumna to start his presentation. Thank you. Yeah, please take it up.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind introduction. And once again, good morning to everyone, and welcome to today's session. So today, as it was mentioned in the abstract, I will be talking about some lively experiences that I have gained, some insights that I have gained from my own startup, Physics Mind-boggler. So I hope my screen is visible to all. Can anyone confirm?
Yes, please continue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So as you can see, Physics Mind-boggler, it's a quite an interesting name, and many times people ask me, why physics and why Mind-boggler? So it has a very interesting backstory. So in 2016, when I was pursuing, I had just completed my 10th grade, and I was very, very fascinated by physics, and I fall in love with it thanks to my professor and thanks to the subject itself. And I always thought of becoming an entrepreneur. But in order to be an entrepreneur, tech driven entrepreneur, I had no idea how to be one. So when physics was introduced to me, I found it very intriguing, very mind boggling, and very versatile when it comes to research and development and innovation. So that's when I realized, okay, physics is something that I would like to pursue, and pursuing it would hopefully one day lead me to develop something and start my own venture. So I started exploring different domains of physics, online, exploring some articles, that eventually led me to start a blogging platform in 2016 named as Physics Mind-boggler. So Physics Mind-boggler actually started as a mere blogging platform and not as a startup venture. For 4 years till 2020, it remained as a blogging platform. So in 2020, I was in my third year of BTech engineering physics at Times Group Bennett University. And right like from the first week itself, I was in touch with their incubation center, Bennett Hatchery. So uh, I always talk about different ideas, different topics that I was exploring in field of material science, renewable energy. I was also talking about how we can build some ev12 vehicle and so on. So that eventually led me to publish 3 books as well as research papers. And in 2020, we were given an option to choose between honors and minor. So I decided to go with minor in innovation and entrepreneurship. And in the class itself, we transformed this mere blogging platform into a startup venture, which eventually became a global network of innovators and researchers. So today, Physics Mind-boggler has a network of innovators and researchers across domains. These include independent innovators with their own lab facilities. These include people who are academic researchers or are research scholars, and not just in India but outside India as well. And this was all possible thanks to Bennett Hatchery and people that they connected us with. So today, if you look at our board of advisors, it includes people from well-known institutions like DRDO, TIFR, IIT, IIM alums. Then we also have some people from Tesla, some people from Lockheed Martin, some ex-ISRO scientists, ex-NASA scientists. We also have scientists from CERN, which is a well-known research institution in Geneva, Switzerland. So these are the kind of people I got associated with during my research journey from 2018, 2020. And when we transformed it into a startup venture, they helped us, build this global network of innovators and researchers. And the objective was very clear. The objective was, instead of reinventing the wheel, instead of being another deep tech startup, why don't we use and leverage existing talents and infrastructure that India has, and that globally exist, and leverage that talents to solve real world problems? So with that mindset, we started experimenting different things, and most of them failed and some of them got success. So in today's session, what I'm going to share is some insights from successes as well as failures that we got while striving towards our objective, a larger picture to bridge the gap between industry and researchers. So a quick introduction, as Rabde sir, mentioned. I am the founder and chief inspiration officer at Physics Mind-boggler. Chief inspiration officer, why? Because as I mentioned, Physics Mind-boggler started as a blogging platform, and its fundamental objective was to inspire young minds, which even today we conduct certain competitions and events to embed curiosity and inspiration among young minds, not forgetting from where we started. During the journey, I published 3 non-fiction books, 2 of which got published during my BTech first year and second year. The first book was Journey Through the Dark Monster, which is on black holes and general theory of relativity. My second book got published in 2019 during my second year of BTech. It is about particle physics. I was very obsessed with Large Hadron Collider from 2016 to 2018. So I was exploring a lot about its working. In fact, I tried building a particle generator as well for my 12th grade project as well. It didn't work. Eventually, I had to go back to the theoretical presentation because turns out we need good amount of energy to generate particles, and it wasn't safe. So because of that, the project was not fully completed. Anyway, so coming to research papers. So what happened was I was working on some materials, thermoelectric materials, and one of the faculty in mechanical department came to know about it. And once, so she invited me and, requested me to show whatever I have done. And she suggested why not to convert this into a research paper. And this is my probably second month of my BTech. So, you know, I had no idea about, what papers and how to publish one. So she guided me, and eventually we published three papers, 2018, 2019, and 2020. All of them in international conferences and journals. The first paper got selected in a WinTech conference in UK, and I had to go there and present it to well experienced, very experienced scientists, over there. Then 2019 it got published in another international conference, and in 2020 it got published as a book chapter in Springer publication. In 2022, I completed my graduation with Chancellor's Medal in Innovation and Entrepreneurship. As you can see, it was given by Ranveer Singh. So that was some exciting moment. Uh, Coming to the insights. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are aware of design thinking. So basically, design thinking is something that they teach in entrepreneurship. At least that entrepreneurship, I don't know whether they teach in MBA or not. But in entrepreneurship, they teach something like design thinking, which has 5 steps. First is empathy mapping, where you empathize with your target audience, trying to understand what they think, what they feel, what they say, what they do, what are their pain points, what are their gains, what are their expectations. So those insights you get in the first step of design thinking, which is empathy mapping. The second step is basically defining a problem based on the empathy mapping, based on the data that you have collected. The third step is more about brainstorming on the problem statement, coming out with different solutions. Step number 4 is prototyping, and step number 5 is validation. So I will take you through the entire process of this design thinking, starting with empathy mapping. Now, this data that I'm showing you right now has been collected after interacting with hundreds of SMEs, hundreds of startups, and around 50 plus academic institutions, including professors and research scholars and management. So coming to the empathy mapping for SME, as you can see, you will find that SMEs, they do have a problem. And many times they have tried collaborating with academic institutions, or some they have outsourced some aspects of product development to someone, but they had very bad experience because the quality or the delivery time, those things were compromised significantly. There were cases which entire IP they got confiscated, or got stolen. So those experiences, SMEs, find it very risky to, outsource anything, particularly to the academic institutions. So as you can see, these are the kind of statements that I have got from them. So when it comes to saying, they say finding a right expert, right is the keyword. Finding expert is easy, but finding the right expert is very hard. So they mostly ask around their own network to reduce the risk in cases where the need is very critical and urgent. What they think is they need problem solvers, not someone who can just give nyan. So these are their words, so I'm exactly telling you what insights I have got from them. Some of you are already in industry, some of you have already interacted with industrialists. So I'm sure, these statements probably resonate with you, at least not exactly, at least somewhere near it. So there were other statements also. I'm just showing you the most of the statements or the most common statements that I have got from the SMEs. Then when it comes to feelings, very skeptical about academia's ability to provide practical solution on time being the keyword here. And what they do is they rarely outsource due to trust issues, confidentiality risk, and poor past experiences, as I mentioned. Coming to startups, they have a very different take on this. Now, there are different stages of startups. Now, when it comes to ideation stage, moving from ideation to MVP stage, of course, they don't have a strong team. But if they are funded, they do outsource to some extent. But overall, the picture is that when it comes to core technology, they prefer not to outsource, rather do it in-house. That is the entire notion of startup, if you look at it. However, there are certain aspects of that R&D journey wherein they don't have expertise within the team. So those are the cases they prefer to seek mentorship or prefer to reach out to their incubation center to connect with someone who could help them out basically. The biggest fear for them is IP leaks, skeptical on new platforms. So if you see, existing some of the existing freelancing platforms like Upwork or Collabtree, Indian startups or Indian industries are using very rarely. Most of these platforms are used by country like US or Europe, these kind of markets. But in India, it's more about service providing. So most of the freelancers are from India, but when it comes to consuming that service, they are very, very few. Fiverr, it's a different case. There we are talking about different kind of freelancing, not R&D related freelancing. So as you can see, uh, so startups mainly, are concerned about, sharing their tech specification, what if it get leaks and, copied or something of that sort. And what they do at the end of the day, they rely heavily on personal contacts, incubators, and occasionally on LinkedIn to find help. Coming to academia, they have a different take on this. So the what they say is, we have experts, we have capacity building program, but we are lacking in industry linkage. So that is a common statement that I have, got from the academic institutions across different cities. Coming to what they think is industry are not sharing well-defined problem. Now, there is a reason why industry is not sharing a well-defined problem. As I mentioned in the previous slide, industry doesn't have trust in the academia. They had very bad experiences. So they don't want to invest a lot of time in preparing a very highly detailed technical brief and sharing with the academia just to know that either the price is not going to be right, or else the timing or else the quality of work is not going to be up to the mark. So that is why, industry are, being skeptical. They are sharing a very brief requirement, very generic requirement, like, okay, I just want a robot which will clean a boiler, for example, or which will clean some of the BMC pipelines or something of that sort, right? But what are the specifications? What kind of technical capabilities it needs? What kind of environment will it be into? Those detailed requirements, industries in the beginning they do not share. Okay, so but from the academia's perspective, what happens is, since they are not sharing the detailed requirement brief, uh, detail in the sense, at least to some extent, to give an idea about what is the sense of the budget, what is the timeline, what kind of specs are they expecting, do they have clarity about the specs? Sometimes industry do not have clarity of specs as well. So if these details are not provided to them, they feel that the industry is not serious, so they also don't push much in the project itself. Um, Coming to feeling, they are very, very motivated to prove research and research that can have industry value. Of course, this is something not every industry will agree with this statement, given that industry is mainly focused on what the demand is, and basis on that they develop the product. But the academic mindset is more about the technology and application and less on the demand side. They just assume that there is a demand, but what kind of demand is something that they that kind of data they don't have. So what happens, what they do, they get frustrated, not to forget the bureaucratic process that they own experience. Even the professor or the research scholar is motivated. The entire management itself, sometimes slows down the entire collaboration process. Limited budgets, sometimes there are payment delays from the industries, and this entire experience makes them, feel that they cannot trust industry. So as you can see, there is if we have to summarize the data from the empathy mapping, you will see that there are lots of collaboration barriers when it comes to industry and academia. There are differences in their goals, communication styles, expectations, and if someone is actually striving to bridge the gap between industry and academia, just giving funding, I don't think that is going to solve the problem. That it requires a significant level of culture building, mindset building, and trust building. That needs to be done when it comes to these two big stakeholders. This is an insight that we are getting from the empathy mapping exercise that we conducted. Then the rest of the data, as you can see, innovation bottlenecks, many companies face difficulties. Of course, they are looking for access to cutting edge research infrastructure or expertise. When it comes to smaller companies or startups, especially at ideation or MVP stage, they lack resources, and since they want to compete with these SMEs and large enterprises, they always look for resources access, expertise access, at least by the time they have a proper product. Later on, they completely focus on marketing and business development. There is a very interesting insight that I got. Probably uh, all of you must be aware of it. I don't know, but let me share. When it comes to startups, there was an interesting insight that I got. I asked them very simple question that given, so there are different operations in startups, right? We have product development, business development, marketing, HR, all those. I asked them how much percentage of time they invest, particularly in innovation and product development or R&D related things. And what I found was when it comes to ideation or MVP stage startups, they invest 90% of their time in product development or innovation. When it comes to early revenue startups, I found that they were investing only 15% to 20% of their time in product development. And when it comes to growth stage startup, the founder was investing around 30% of their time, 30 to 40% of their time in innovation or product development. So that's an interesting insight that we got. So as the level increases of that startup, as they go to the next phase, they're less focused on when it comes to innovation, except in the growth phase. In the early revenue phase, they're completely focused on marketing and product development. So what could be the solution? So this was our probably second attempt. Okay, the first attempt was reaching out to researchers and offering them different services. But that eventually we realized that researchers do not have money to pay. So we have to like reverse our model. Instead of reaching out to researcher first and then reaching out to industry, we can reach out to industry first and then reach out to the researcher. So we tried this without using any software. Okay. We only offered services. So we used to interact with industries offline. And we used to ask them what their biggest challenges are. Once they share us, okay, we are experiencing a pain point in our existing product, or we need help in developing entire product. So basis on that problem statement, we used to interact with relevant researchers in our network. Again, this was happening on one-on-one basis without help of any software. And then what we did was, once we know, okay, he or she is the right researcher or innovator to solve the problem, we used to set up a virtual introductory meeting between them so that they can take that project further. Okay. So we did this, we got initial success, and then we thought of automating this entire process. Now, the picture that you see right now is a proof of concept that we developed basis on the methodology that we were following uh, without using any automation tool or without using any software. So once we realize, okay, this is the method, this methodology is working, reaching out to industry, getting problem statements, introducing them to researcher, we realize let's build a some platform or some software. So in this software, what happens is, again, this is a proof of concept, this is not commercialized yet. The commercial model is slightly different than what you will see right now. So in this proof of concept, what we are fundamentally doing is, we have a database of researchers and innovators with their expertise, with their background, kinds of research projects that they have done. Number one, we are not onboarding all researchers and innovators. We have set three specific parameters in order to be part of that network. The first parameter for the researcher is that they need to have experience working with the industry, okay, or industrial projects. So if, let's say, even if they are research scholars and they have worked on some industrial projects during their PhD or just for freelancing, they meet that particular parameter, and it has to be at least 3 years of experience working with the industry. Second parameter that we have set is access to lab infrastructure. Most of the problems that we get are in hardware domain, because for software it is easy, very very easy nowadays to find a freelancer or an expert. Most of the times you don't even have to go out and look for it. You can simply launch a recruitment process and onboard someone full time as well. So, second parameter, as I was saying, access to lab infrastructure, given that most of these projects, most of these complex problems come in hardware domain, or at least it's an integration of hardware and software. Third parameter, most of these projects, they are multidisciplinary. So it's very important for whoever that researcher or innovator is to be resourceful, to have access to other expertise as well as and when required. So that is the third parameter that we have set. So only when they meet these three parameters, then only we onboard in our network. Okay. Second thing, what happens is, instead of uh, giving out a proposal or a requirement and then going through probably 50 100 profiles or 50 100 bids from by the industry, what we have done here, industry can simply type their generic problem statement that I am looking for a robotic expert, very generic, and basis on those statements, very specific profile pops up. How does it pops up? Because during registration we have industry details, so even if it is generic, our algorithm can understand to some extent, okay, these could be the potential needs, or these could be potential experts from our database, uh, who can help them out because they have experience working in robotics, working in this sector which the company belongs to, and whatever information that the company has provided in addition to that. Okay. So the algorithm defines a number to each and every profile, 0.10. So we use cosine similarity to do this intelligent matching. So there are numbers given. So we have defined a threshold number. So any profile that goes above that threshold, those only profiles are recommended. Now, these profiles are not recommended in bulk, not like 10, 20. 3 to 5 profiles are recommended at a time. They can go through those 3 to 5 profiles if they wish to. Otherwise, they can simply show interest and take it ahead. We have that 98% accuracy in order when it comes to matching through the software itself. So we can assure them that the profiles that are being recommended through the software have the relevant expertise, have the relevant experience and professionalism working with while working with the industry. So this is the intelligent matching that we have uh, included in this particular software. So this is one. There is a great database. So we have a good database of researchers and innovators, and this is one of the attempt when it to streamline collaboration between industry and academia. So if you look at this software, we could theoretically, at least if you see, researchers from academia can be part of this. They can provide their research services or consultation services to the industry. Industry veterans who are these days, offering consultation to companies, they could also be part of this network and offer their services on the platform. Innovators, as a consumers, startups, manufacturers, or even manufacturers could be service providers. MSMEs could be consumers. Then investors could be also part of it. So this is something that I will talk about down the line. And some government departments could also use it theoretically, right? I mean, the bureaucratic hurdles and all those things, and there are some platforms like Manthan that exist already. Those things could be like a different kind of a conversation, but theoretically these all people, these all stakeholders could use this platform to quickly find an expert who knows how to deliver basically. Oh, okay. Now I will show you a quick demo of the proof of concept that we have developed. Okay, the one that I just showed you. So this is a proof of concept, and I will also tell you the drawbacks of this particular proof of concept. Because remember the design thinking I talked about. First step, empathy mapping, empathizing with them. Second step was defining the problem. Third was brainstorming. So brainstorming kiya, solution, prototype banaya, the proof of concept, and we tested it. So during testing, we realized, okay, this is working and this is not working. This is very, very terrible. And this is something that we need to work on, right? So, and remember, during the testing itself, parallelly, जो offline model है, where we are manually reaching out to the industry, that is still going on. Okay, so this is just an attempt to automate that very manual driven kind of a process, so that the solution becomes more scalable rather than unscalable basically. So I will show you the proof of concept ka demo.
Product demo of CollabHive, an AI-driven platform powered by Physics Mind-boggler PM to bridge the gap between enterprises and innovation. CollabHive allows businesses to connect with top researchers and innovators globally to drive their projects forward and fuel the future of innovation. It also helps researchers to unlock their research from papers. At first, you will see an AI chatbot. If you are clear about your needs, you can simply type and connect with relevant experts appearing in the sidebar. If you are not clear about your needs, click No and answer 5 easy questions. The AI chatbot will recommend potential steps you need to undertake to achieve your.
So if you see right now, there were two options given to the user, in this case, industry or startup. The first option was, let's say, startup or SME, they are clear about what the pain point is and what they are looking for. They can type a problem statement and simply get relevant experts for it. Second thing was experimental for us, because initially we thought that, okay, there might be startups who have no idea, or at least researchers or industry who have no idea what the next step could be, because they have been running this business from last 40 years probably. They are used to that methodology and or that process. Now let's say there is a second generation entrepreneur who wants to do something different, what it could be. So we uh, included a tool wherein they can give their business details, and then we could recommend certain steps that they can take to innovate basically or grow their business. In startups case, when the startup founder is confused what the next step could be, again they could use the same methodology. Surprisingly, okay, I will come to that. So once the steps are recommended, you will see for the each and every step, specific profiles will be recommended. So this
your
was the
goals.
second feature.
It will also recommend relevant experts who could help you execute each steps. All profiles are thoroughly vetted.
Now, surprisingly, when we tested this, no one used this. So we realized, okay, this is something that no one requires. Everyone knows what they are looking for, and at least that's one of the reason why they are on the platform in first place. So that is one feedback that, or one observation rather, we had when while testing this proof of concept.
You can browse their profiles and click Show Interest to notify experts about your needs. If you're not satisfied with the suggestions, connect with our admin and we'll personally assist you. Once connected, the collaboration begins on your dashboard. Chat, send attachments.
What happened? Okay, anyway, so this is just
Hello, founders and researchers. Welcome to Product.
Okay,
Hello,
anyway,
founders and
so
researchers.
the last was
Welcome.
just a dashboard where the contracts were segregated. They can automatically generate contracts and invoices. So those were the last step. So the feedback that we got, number one is, as you can see, there is not much clarity about what the software does in the first instant. Second, the interface itself is not that impressive. They preferred more like a chat GPT kind of a interface rather than profiles being recommended on the right side. These were the small things. Larger picture is, of course, as I mentioned in the empathy mapping, whether the experts are right, what happens once we have engaged and they do not deliver. Even if it's going to be 1 million kind of a case where there is someone's IP gets stolen, what is the mechanism for it? Even if it's a rare thing that happens, right? So those were the larger insights, that we got from this. And that's when we came back to step number 3 of design thinking, which was brainstorming, right? So now this is an impact that such kind of solutions could create. Again, these kinds of insights we are getting from the offline model that has been working for us so far, right? So bridging the gap between industry and academia, there is complex challenges are being shared, and researchers are getting empowered through these contractual industrial projects. Not to forget, why am I using the word empowered and this financial independence and all those things? Is because if you see researchers, especially research scholars, they are in their late 20s, early 30s, and they are not financially independent. So these industrial projects will allow them to be more financially independent. Second, the lack of clarity that they have when it comes to industrial requirements, industrial mindsets, those things get rectified uh, when collaborating with industry and researchers. So mindset building, culture building, trust building, those were the three things that I mentioned in the beginning. So this helps with the culture building and mindset building aspects for the researchers as well as for the industry. um, so this is just a market opportunity. I will just go ahead. Coming to revenue model. So this is the success fee model is something that we have right now, and subscription and institutional fee is something that we will be launching very soon once we have the commercial software ready for this. Uh, Go to market, again, I will just quickly go through industry referrals, these things probably you guys are already aware of. These are the competitions that I mentioned. Okay, now very important point, and probably most of you might have this particular question कि ठीक है software है, what's a big deal in it, and okay, global network of innovators and researchers, okay, some kind of AI tool to match and all, but what about the risks for the industry, right? Lack of trust, someone steals your IP, or even for startups there is a big risk for that. चाहे vetted experts हो, those three parameters that I talked about. Legal contracts भी होते हैं. But again, knowingly, unknowingly, if a researcher or innovator shares something with someone else, unknowingly, for example, then शायद वो industry या entrepreneur को पता भी ना चले, right? Like what in those cases. So we are, defining something as reliability score. So in the entire process, so the newer model which we have, which we are right now working on using the fellowship by Sarthi, it has more robust features wherein there is a relationship manager assigned to the industry who takes care of all the drafting processes, and the entire software defines a reliability score on all the engagements between the industry and researchers. So let's say meeting आपने schedule किया, researcher is late, or एक milestone define किया, the project got delayed, there is a reliability score that is defined. And any reliability, and this is defined by the machine, not manually. Okay. So whenever the reliability score is below a threshold, let's say someone talked something in the meeting which was very unprofessional, it will get registered in the software itself. So that is one way that we are reducing the risk. Again, 100% risk reduce karna, agar, I mean, so far, we have not come across ki 100% guarantee mil jaye, but at least 98 99% bhi hum agar achieve kar le, if we are able to do that and able to deliver a quality service on time, uh, it will, it will help us differentiate in the market itself. And the secured funding option, wherein not immediately, I mean, आपको जो first installment देना होता है, so many times what happens, without any escrow account, that gets directly to the researcher, and then researcher can simply, stop doing the project once he or she gets money. So we have a escrow account through which, the first installment will be in the escrow account with us, and only when the milestone is delivered, then only it gets processed to the researcher. So that way, there is an assurance that the delivery will be there. If the delivery is not up to the mark, it still remains in the escrow account until the revisions are made. So that's why that way your funds will at least be secured, right? So these are the four things that we are doing in order to reduce the risk as much as possible. Okay. The value addition that is happening, that instead of industry taking 3 months or 2 months for the recruitment process, finding the right expert, all those things are happening within a minute itself. You are getting a right expert. You are getting a relationship manager who takes care of all the drafting of the contracts and the NDAs and everything. And the software takes care of the assigning relevant expert and reliability score and securing of funds. So it's a very super convenient way to collaborate or to seek contractual R&D services for the industry. So that is the key value addition that we are bringing on the table. For the industries who probably don't know from where they could secure fundings, these are the potential channels from which they can get funding. Just recently, government of India launched 1 lakh crore ka scheme through ANRF. Then we have SIDBI funds of funds, DRDO ka technology development funds, and Department of Defense Production ka jo IDEX hai. Through that also they can secure funding. This is the current status, by the way. So, ये सब तो important नहीं. This one is probably important. So far we have delivered 25 projects worth 25 lakhs. Again, these are the industries who have honestly put faith in us. क्योंकि चलो करके देखते हैं, need है. This includes startups and SMEs both. As you can see, number of industries that we have helped are 20, but the number of projects are 25. So of course there were some recurring projects that we got from the industry. And this is something that each and every statement that you see here, again, during the testing phase, we got from our customers. Okay, so our customers, were praising us for being efficient, trustworthy, and cost effective. One of the founder also reported that he saved 1 year of development time and 20 lakhs of development expense. And when it comes to critical business impact, I mean, we ask them, agar, we would have not given you this solution, or we stopped today itself offering any kind of the solution, how critically the business would be impacted. So 60% of our customers said ki, severely affect ho jata, it would have probably, and like we would have stopped the business itself. So that's the 60% of the customer. Remaining 40 is कि ठीक है, टाइम लग जाता, पर ठीक है, कुछ इतना बिजनेस तो बंद नहीं होता, बट 60% ऑफ द केसेस उनका बिजनेस ही बंद हो जाता if we would have not offered those services. These are some testimonials. You can just glance through it. If you look at the Smartivity, that's a edtech company. We were helping them with developing innovative, immersive products. Who we are is a deep tech company. They are into virtual reality, but they were exploring some angles in neuroscience and quantum computing. So we helped them with that as well. Dr. Umesh, his startup is works on battery technology. They are incubated in IIT Delhi. Chaitanya Doshi, he is incubated in IIT Bombay. He has a biotech company, so we help them as well. These are some case studies. So there were like a couple of founders in Pune. They wanted to develop these automatic CPR machines. They had no technical specifications. These were all young founders. They just saw something in US and they wanted to develop it in India. So they just shared गूगल से उन्होंने इमेज हमें भेजा कि ये ऊपर से ऐसा दिखता है. So they had no idea about the regulations and certifications, and also introduced them to someone in Pune itself, since the founders were from Pune, and they helped them with developing automatic CPR machine, and right now they are filing for IP. Second case study is the robotic one. This is a Mumbai-based company, and they needed a state-of-the-art duct and boiler cleaning robot. So we helped them out. We introduced them to someone in IIT. So he helped them out. Artex Solonics, probably you might have heard about this company. It's a Bhopal-based company run by second-generation entrepreneur. Very, very, आई मीन काफी सारे अचीवमेंट्स है फाउंडर्स के भी इंडस्ट्री की भी they are a listed company. So they developed a very interesting system. They typically have defense as their client. So they developed this power system wherein LPG gas was desulfurized. फिर desulfurized gas was getting into fuel cell to generate electricity, जिससे कि tank और whatever military vehicle is वो चल सके. So desulfurization filter is something that they needed help with. So we introduced them to someone, a chemical engineer in Grafakira University, and they helped it out. Remember, when it comes to developing filters, and especially when you are reverse engineering something, chemical analysis करना पड़ता है. Chemical analysis हो जाता है, elements पता चल जाते हैं, but the composition कि कौन सा element कितना quantity में है, that's a proprietary information. So having an experienced a person who have done it in the past, thoda bahut idea hoga, helps to reduce the uncertainty and increase the success rate, and that's what we delivered here. As Vilas sir mentioned, recently we were honored with Best Startup Award. We got fellowship from Sarthi as well recently. Now this is the picture that we are building right now. So we keep on experimenting other things also on the sidelines. So as you can see, this is something that we have already achieved offline, and we are developing a product which will automate that entire process. We are testing the rest of the models again offline. So once those tests are successful, we will be integrating it with the same software that we are building, which is offering these contractual R&D services. These are the advisors, some of the advisors who are helping us, guiding us right from day one. That's it. I think time is up. So that's all from my side. If you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer those questions.
Thank you, Pradyumna. Very nicely presented. I think it will immensely help the action plan. Now we will go for the question and answer sessions, plus identify yourself and fire your questions. Please.
Hello, Sudarshan Nathu here.
Yeah,
Yes,
please.
sir.
First and foremost thing, Pradyumna, really good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Of course, I got few questions to you.
Yes.
So basically, Collab Hive is actually your platform. What you are envisaging this as a product. That's what I
Yes.
understand.
Yes.
Few things what I would like to ask you is
Mhm.
there are and you already highlighted those
Mhm.
industry experience
Mhm.
specifically in a hardware project.
Mhm.
Now you are providing this help vis-a-vis the experts, the research experts to
Mhm.
the industry.
Mhm.
So when you collaborate with industry experienced people and the physical one,
Mhm.
the product management
Mhm.
and the project management,
Yes.
how it is really taken care, because that's one of the big question. When you say that you delivered it, I don't know how much content was hardware or software. Maybe
Mhm.
software it's possible,
Mhm.
and also in terms of compliance and so many other things. But
Right.
it's a good presentation and a good novel way to solve some of the problems for the industry and or rather collaborative efforts. Thanks.
Yes, sir. So, just to answer your first question, among those 25 projects, all of them were hardware. Of course, when it comes to hardware, there is some aspects of software as well, but they were mainly hardware-driven product development and research development processes. Coming to um, uh, project management question. Um, in the commercial model, we are assigning them a relationship manager. So how the journey is how the journey is for the user. Um, they type their problem statement. They get a recommendations of the profile. They select the profile and they schedule a meeting with the relationship manager then and there itself. Okay. So after that, relationship manager and industry have a meeting on the platform itself. And in the meeting, they draft a requirement brief. So industry only explains, and the relationship manager takes care of the entire writing of the requirement brief basis on what the industry knows or what the industry requirements are. So the relationship manager understands what the mindset is of the industry, what the do's and don'ts are from the industry. So those all details, and there are certain parameters again set for what data to collect from in the meeting itself. Once the relationship manager has that brief, through the software, relationship manager submits that brief to the researcher, you know uh, जिसमें इंडस्ट्री ने इंटरेस्ट दिखाया है, दिखाया है ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ आर रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ कोर्स. सो रिसर्चर गोज थ्रू इट. अगर कुछ कमेंट्स है वगैरह तो बैक एंड फोर्थ हो सकता है, बट सिंस द रिक्वायरमेंट brief has been prepared on the basis of the interactions with the researchers from the empathy mapping, the Q&A rounds will be very, very few, practically zero. Once researchers goes through the requirement brief, they develop a proposal, submit it to the relationship manager. Once relationship manager finds it okay, उसमें अभी researcher may send it very very vaguely. So I have found many cases जहाँ पे proposals are so vague that methodology is not defined, and industries are looking for what the roadmap is, what the methodologies are, most importantly what the expenses are. उसमें भी काफी काफी times researchers are like, okay, these are the materials expense, consultation का अलग होगा, but that is not given in the proposal. Sometimes consultation charges are way high, given the project it is. So those aspects will be taken care by the relationship manager. He will make sure that final जो submission जा रहा है proposal का to the industry, that is very well defined, very clear, and industry can make an informed decision on it. And if the industry agrees, then they sign the contract and go ahead with the proposal. And after that, there is the meeting that happens between the industry and the researcher. Now, if you look at this entire process, the time that it takes go go through this entire process right now is weeks and months, right? Because sometimes the entrepreneur is traveling, they don't have time to draft the requirement brief, to go through the legal contracts, to do the vetting for the researcher or innovator that is recommended to them. For the researcher, they talk to different hierarchies to make sure that the proposal is to the mark. They ask multiple questions to get the right elements in the requirement brief. So it takes weeks and months for this entire process. But with this software, with this platform and relationship manager, this will be reduced to just a couple of days. And again, if there is a delay from the researchers end, it will affect the reliability score. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So basically, relationship manager is a multi-year and multi-domain, multifaceted person which you already hired. That is what you're
Yes.
relying on. Okay.
Yes. So they, and of course, this entire process is happening through the software so that it becomes relevantly scalable.
Yeah, let's go for the next question. Yeah, please.
Hello,
Yes, sir.
this is Vijay Ghate.
Yes, sir.
One point that I noticed in the presentation
Mhm.
is requirements are not clear initially.
Mhm.
I think one of the most important steps in any startup project is converting the needs into requirements and requirements into specifications.
Right.
Now, this process itself requires help from industry experts, those who are actually experienced in product development, and
Right.
not only on a research for knowledge sake.
Right.
Where this conversion does not happen, I have seen several times that even up to end of the project, real
Right.
specifications are not available. I think this is something that you need to educate the startups.
Right.
Many
Right.
startups fail. Several startups, I can't say many
Very
because I
true.
don't have exact figure. Several startups fail because they have some vague idea
Right.
and they have seen some vague need, but
Right.
they followed it. But finally, it comes out that the need is not there at all, or the need is not converted well to a specification.
Right.
If this is not done in initial phase, I think startups spend too much money in chasing after dreams, that I would say.
Correct.
I think
Correct.
this is
Correct.
something that startups do require help. I don't know
Right.
what.
So
Very,
actually, yeah. Yes, sir.
very valid point, because this is called contract review in ISO or anything. That what
Correct.
customer want and what you are providing has to be documented and signed by both. So
Right.
now go ahead.
Right. Yes. I mean, I completely agree with you, sir. Not just startups, even I have found SMEs sometimes they just know. I will give you the example of the robotic one that needed duct cleaning robot, state of the art, the case study too. So they didn't share any specification. The founder had, and they are like a more like a micro enterprise itself. They were offering duct cleaning services. Now they thought of why not to automate it with robots and all. So they had a very clear picture in mind. They had a contract from BMC. BMC showed interest in their company, and now they were needing robots who can do that job basically. Okay, so they had a budget in mind. In when it comes to specification, technical capabilities, nothing at all. So in those cases, in our case, the relationship manager will take care of those aspects, knowing that okay, if this is the objective, duct cleaning करना है, BMC मुंबई में करना है, BMC का project है, what is the overall budget that or the project worth offered by the BMC. So he will take a very educational basis. Okay, अगर इतने बजट में अगर करना है और ये ऑब्जेक्टिव मीट करना है, तो these are the technical specs that are possible or features that are possible in it. You cannot have a military or the industrial grade probably material used in these kinds of robots जिसका overall cost needs to be less than 1 lakh per robot. अगर industrial grade अगर हम use करेंगे तो it may go above 1 lakh kind of an expense, right? So those aspects in our case will be taken care by the relationship manager to avoid any discrepancies between the industry and the researcher. And if the researcher has comments on it, as Vilas sir said, the agreement needs to be between the industry and researchers both. So that is something that will be made sure by this relationship manager. And that is an insight. If you see in the proof of concept that I showed, रिलेशनशिप मैनेजर का कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं था. But when we tested it, we realized that they need some manual intervention as well in form of relationship manager to take care of this entire process smoothly. So I hope that that answers your question, or at least that validates your concern, uh, Vijay sir.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we will take the last question now.
Yes, sir. Can I ask, please?
Please, you identify yourself.
Yeah, this is Ganesh Rajagopal representing EduFuture. We work with institutions on a pan-India basis for both technical and medical institutions. I'm just continuing what Mr. Vijay Gate did mention. It was quite, really revealing to us as well. First and the foremost thing is, Mr. Mane, thank you very much. But correct me if I'm wrong, because as far as the academics is concerned, it was more of a judgmental statements that you have been made entire situation, the entire of your presentation. Because when we talk about in institutions, we look into geographical location. Like an IIT Mumbai is accessible to a lot of facilities. And if I have to take an institution which is based in engineering institution based in rural, they have their own challenges in spite of having very bright students. I'm just making a statement and a good faculties as well. So when we talk about these two, and when we need to talk about, let us say, industry connect, how do we do it? Because that is one thing I found missing. And second thing is when we spoke about, when we heard entire processes, we spoke of, I understand there are different type of industries. Yes, when we talk about industry per se, yes, we have the manufacturing sector, we have the IT sector, we have the service industry sector, we have the medical sector. So what exactly are we talking about when we talk about academia and industry connections, please? This is very 1, 2, 3, 4 points of mine.
Yeah, sure, sir. So when I'm talking about industry, as I mentioned, most of these industries have hardware driven products or requirements. So if we ask ourselves which sector in most of the cases have a hardware product or hardware driven innovation, we look at sectors like defense, aerospace, medtech, clean tech. These are the prominent sectors, or semiconductors, right? Even manufacturers, so I think last month I was speaking to president of that Spring Association. So he was talking about even if it's just a spring that they are manufacturing, there are lots of materials that they are exploring, which will give certain level of specifications, a certain level of capabilities to those spring. So theoretically, all these hardware driven sectors could be, but if you talk about service driven sectors like ITs and all, they will not require these kind of solutions because they are already getting those freelancers or full-time employees very easily, skilled employees very easily related compared to someone who is looking for a hardware driven expert. I will give a very specific example going back to the chemical engineer and the Arctic Solonics project. I cannot simply introduce them to a chemical engineer with 1 or 3 years of experience for a project like where they have to reverse engineer a desulfurization filter. It needs to be someone who has already worked on desulfurization and has some understanding about what the composition could look like given the materials that are used in the desulfurization filter. So in hardware driven innovation, you require hands-on experience, a lot of hands-on experience to have those specific expertise and skills, and not just theoretical understanding or just logical understanding or capability or to solve a specific problem. So defense, aerospace, medtech, clean tech, these are the kind of sectors I'm talking about when it comes to industries. When it comes to academia, um, uh, uh, I mean, tier one, tier two cities I have mostly interacted with, not tier three. So these are mostly urban, cities that I have interacted with. So these colleges, IITs and NITs, those are all exceptional cases. Okay, we have those experts and all. But we also, as you correctly mentioned, even in tier two cities or colleges which are not well known, they have very well talented students and faculties as well, right? So we are not, again, the three parameters that we have decided to onboard a researcher and innovator a student may not fit those parameters. They don't have industrial experience. They are working on industrial projects. They don't have access to lab infrastructure because they need college permission for that, and being resourceful. But faculty or research scholar, they typically have, they meet those parameters, and they then become a part of this network. So anyone who meet those three parameters, whether they belong to a well-known institution or not so well-known institution, they become part of this. Now, if you see in this entire explanation, I'm talking about industry, I'm talking about researchers and innovators. I'm not specifically talking about the academia as a whole as an institution, because then collaborating with a researcher, onboarding a researcher and innovator becomes very easy. But when we say collaborating with academia at an institutional level, onboarding the entire academia at the institutional level, that becomes a very complex question. So that's why, if you see, we are experimenting this particular thing with the academia, wherein we are asking them, Kiti, see, we have these three capabilities. What is it that you are looking for? So most of them are, giving them like well-established universities are talking about commercialization of their projects, and the ones who are not so well established or not so well known, they're talking about converting papers into products. So those are the services that we are offering. We are piloting with them offline. Once we have that data with us, then we will integrate with the software to make it scalable. So I hope that answers your question, sir.
Yeah. I think
Okay, I'll just finish. I'll just finish one particular statement, please. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I mean, in the sense, yes, I wouldn't say all my questions has been answered. To be very honest, because I'll just name one factor that I did. You must have heard about Bharti, Baba Saheb Ambedkar Research and Training Institute.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there are under two, they had two purpose or the two scope, vision. One was to convert one into academia in terms of placements. I'm just
Okay.
talking about placement, nothing to do with the research.
Okay.
And
Okay.
second one is from a social cost perspective. So
Okay.
I was part of the team, my organization is part of the team where we created entrepreneurs, especially based out of Nagpur, Gondia in that border area. The social activity was to get down and bring down the Naxalism. We were very
Okay.
successful in it because
Okay.
most of the people who got into it, for whatever reason they are, which I have not sit on judgment of that. Second one is we identified from the tier institutions where we help them to set up supply chain containers startups. So
Okay.
today they are giving interns so much of employment to entire district over there. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thanks. Hopefully to meet you in person. Let's see. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Pradyumna, I think it was a very good interaction from the participants. I must say today's presentation was really nice and well thought of, and this will definitely help for our action plan.